Well, today is the day. Today, hopefully, I'll be done with the installation project for the STi. There's quite a lot of work to do. I have to remove the seats, I have to remove all the carpeting, and then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna remove the majority of the trim, hopefully get as much access to the dash, because I'm planning on shoving some of that material inside the dash itself, because there are a few spots on the dash that rattle. Even though I got up pretty early this morning to set everything up, one thing led to another, and it's noon already, so we'll see if I'm gonna be able to finish all of this stuff today and film it properly. So as not to waste your time or mine anymore, let's just go ahead and get started. So I think what my plan of attack is gonna be is to go ahead and take out the front seats, remove the car seat, remove the back seat. I'll start working around the trim, you know, basically all the pieces that are on the outside, and then I'll move towards the center console and I'll work on the center console. And then I think at that point, I'm gonna have enough access to all the rest of the clips that are holding down the carpet to actually just remove them and take them out. We've already clipped out the rear seats once before, but if you need to see the process again, there's a clip right under there. Push that a little forward. And then there's also another clip on the same side. So once those are out, you can just pull on the rear seat, take it out. Well, it's time for the front seats. For front seats, it's pretty simple. They're just 4 bolts. 2 are up front, they're visible. 2 are in the back, and they're actually covered by these plastic clips. So as soon as I remove those clips, I'll have access to them as well. But let's go ahead and get started with the front. It's just a 14mm socket. Pop it on there and remove it. Well, since we are going to be disconnecting the airbag, I just need to grab my 10mm and disconnect the negative terminal. Now that the battery is disconnected and you push forward the front seat, you'll have access to a few connectors. Primarily this 1, 2, and 3. You're not going to want to mess around with this one since it's just connected to the seat itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to clip off this little zip tie right here, and then we're just going to disconnect the 1, 2, and 3 connectors from the seat, and the seat is ready to come out. So on the first clip, all we're going to do is press on the tab on the back and pull down. On the second clip, there's the black tab, you pull it down, and then you just pull the cable out. On the third clip, there's the tab on the front. You're just going to press that tab while you're pulling down, and it will come out. The removal process is pretty straightforward. Just grab the seat, be careful, and wiggle it out through the front door. Now that the seats are removed, we can go ahead and remove these plastic pieces that are just in the way. So you just basically pull up on this one, pull up on that one, and then this one should be able to pull out this way. Next up is removing the center console, so inside here, unplugging the cables that you may have already in there. Take out any junk out of there like I have. And then at the very bottom piece, there's this little carpet pad. And inside there are just 2 Phillips head screws that you're just gonna wanna remove. So yeah, just 2 little screws, and it's already pretty wobbly. The boot itself is pretty straightforward. Just pull it up, slides off the clips. Now you can just kind of push it out of the way, exposing you to 1 additional screw. Another Phillips head right there. Unscrew it. And you just pull that up out of the 2 clips that are holding it down. Actually 1 additional clip because that was the screw. Now you may be tempted to remove all these different plugs from down here. It's like there's a ton of stuff. So just going all over the place. So if I can't slide it through this hole right here, I'm just gonna snip this piece in half and then basically just tape it back afterwards, considering nobody's ever gonna see this underneath this piece anyways. So I'm just gonna leave this in place and move on from here. Next up is removing this whole piece right here. So just unscrew shift knob, and from basically, you're not gonna lift this whole thing, just from right there, you feel it pop, and there it is right there. I'm gonna have to shift this down to be able to get it to that point, because you are gonna have to unclip this part. And I'm gonna screw the shifter knob back in because there's no point, since I'm not gonna be removing the remainder of the shifter. Now that this is movable, there are 2 screws that are accessible now. And I'm just gonna use a smaller Phillips head to remove them. And then there's a tab right here that separates these 2 pieces. And these 2 pieces are now separated. There are also 2 more screws up here. And it looks like the remainder of this is on clips, with 1 additional clip being all the way back here. And that just slides up. The top and bottom pieces are actually clips. Just pull on the carpet hard enough, they will come out. That's how you remove this piece. Just the top and the bottom pieces are clips, and we're also going to have to remove that piece, which clips over there and all the way in the back. Just a couple of nice little tugs, and these pieces are out. So there are just a couple more clips that are going to have to be removed. There's one right above this pedal. There's this sucker right over here. This guy. And then there's a screw-on one up here that just uses, it's like a flathead. You know, it's a Phillips head up here. I wasn't able to use the Phillips head, but I was able to use the flathead. For this one, I grabbed around the carpeting and I pulled out, and it just popped right out. Now, the carpet from this side looks like it's nice and loose. So for what I could tell for this one, you'll just pull this to release that piece and push it out again the other way. And they do tend to snap back in. So now that it's out, these two pieces, you just push down and then pull it out just like that. I'm not 100% sure if this piece comes out or not. What I'm gonna do, comes off from what it looks like right around there. So it looks like it can just slide right over this piece. Now it's time to pop that clip up and remove this screw. Once that's out, this like slides right out. And I think that was the last piece. So now, looks like the only pieces that are being held are on the side. So you just take the carpet from the side and start lifting it up. Now that everything is nice and loose, I can actually start the carpet removal process. And there it is. Honestly, not as bad as I thought. There are only really a few pieces that really need to be insulated, like this bare metal right underneath the seats. But for the most part, I see that they've added some padding right at the footrest over there area next to the firewall. So I'm not even going to touch that unless I can take that portion off and slide some material underneath. But for the most part, that's it. I'm about to start laying down the material and get this thing put back together. Well, it's right at 4 o'clock and I just finished laying down the Rattletrap material on the passenger side. It's going pretty smooth. I mean, overall, not a complicated process whatsoever. It's actually a lot easier to do in the trunk. So now I just have to complete the driver's side over there and then lay down the actual sound deadening material on top of the Rattletrap material. So maybe I have an hour left and then I can start putting everything back together, which is kind of what I was thinking. Somewhere around 5:30 I was going to finish. And then by the time I put everything back, 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I can call it a day. So now let's jump back and I'll show you the process of basically what I'm doing over there on the other side. Well, Rattletrap material is finally complete. This side, the driver's side, took about an additional 30 minutes. So now it's time to actually start laying down the sound deadening material over this. So this should be a lot easier. I'm not gonna try to cover as much area as I did with the Rattletrap material. Same kind of principle as with the trunk. So I should be done with this with another 15-20 minutes and that's it. Soundproofing complete. After 6 full hours, the installation process is finally complete, but this part honestly wasn't too bad. I would say the thing that took the most is just adjusting the camera every single time and make sure that every single angle was kind of captured properly. But overall, I think if I was to do this normally, I think from the start to the finish, if I just had some knowledge of where everything was and not had to experiment with stuff, it'd probably take somewhere around 3 hours to remove everything, lay everything down, and then put everything back. But we're about to put everything back right now, so let's see if it actually fits. Well, it only took 8 hours today, but I think I'm semi-satisfied with what I did. So the reason why I say that is, as I was doing stuff, I kind of started thinking, I'm like, I should do this a little bit here and a little bit more over there. So I think what I'm gonna do is take off the door panels again. I have some of that sound insulation material left over, and I'm gonna cover the inside of the doors as well. And then I have another roll, so I'm debating whether to take off the headliner and actually do the headliner as well. Now the front pillars, like the plastic that's covering that, I'm definitely gonna do that next time, just because I kind of heard it rattling while I was driving, and of course all rattles have to be eliminated. So well, that's it for now. I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna test drive it right now and give you guys my feedback just yet, or if I'm gonna try to eliminate all rattles and soundproof a little bit more before I give you my complete details and kind of recap of the project. But stay tuned, it'll be a couple more weeks worth of stuff to do, and I'm gonna record the whole process so you guys won't miss a thing.